Welcome to our podcast. It's FAIRYTALE. Okay, hi. Welcome to our podcast. In this podcast, we will to talking about Cinderella, the famous fairy tale. We know about Cinderella. All the people know about Cinderella. So in this podcast, we will talking about Cinderella that I will accompany by Indah and Sofwa. So without any further ado, let's talk about this story.
Okay, everyone. Today we want to talk about the story of Cinderella. As we know that Cinderella is the narrative story which is explain and tell about the girl that have the the bad stepsister and stepmother. Actually, in the beginning, Cinderella is one of the happiness girl which is life with her mother and her father. But after her mother died, her father get married with the stepmother. And do you know that the stepmother of Cinderella actually didn't like Cinderella? So her stepmother gave a lot of the work for Cinderella, and I think the stepmother of Cinderella just like and love the stepsister of Cinderella. Cinderella always do all of the work in her home, and then she don't have a friend because she hasn't gone to the other place, or she always stay at home, except they go to the market to get some or the ingredients of the food in her home. Every night Cinderella always stay alone and talk with her cats, and her cats always give the response with say meow. It has a meaning that cheer up. You have something that your stepsister don't have. That is beauty. Yeah, because actually we know that Cinderella has a beautiful face and has a good attitude than her stepsister. Even though Cinderella used the ugly clothes or the bad clothes, her beauty always can be seen by the other people around her. It is also different with her stepsister. Although the stepsister used the expensive clothes, they always can be seen like an ugly person. And one day, do you know, one day, the new expensive clothes arrive to the home, and then the stepsister of Cinderella always be happy and get that the new clothes or new dress as their clothes or dress to go to the party in the hall of the kingdom. And do you know, Cinderella don't do anything or don't try to get the clothes or the dress because she knows the answer that the stepmother don't give her the clothes or the new dress to go to the party, and she don't have a permission to go to the party because she has a lot of the work, because her stepmother say that Cinderella must be clean up the stepsister and stepmother's bedroom because the stepsister and the stepmother wanna be very tired and very sleepy after they go to the party. That's the things that Cinderella do when her stepmother and the stepsister go to the party. Wow. So I think that's not a good attitude. Yeah.
After being saddened by the fate of not being able to go to the dance, something amazing happened. When Cinderella was sitting alone and an explosion of light appeared, and a fairy appeared from there. Fairy knew Cinderella would be very happy if she could go to the contest. The fairy told her not to be afraid because she would keep Cinderella going to the contest. But Cinderella did not believe it was because of her messy clothes. Answering Cinderella's statement, the fairy swung her magic wand and changed Cinderella's clothes into a very beautiful clothes. After that, the fairy told Cinderella to find a pumpkin and told the cat to look for 7 live mice. After all obtained, the fairy changed everything using a magic wand. The pumpkin turned into a shining face shield, and 6 mice became 6 white horses, while the 7th mouse turned into a coachman wearing a uniform and carrying a whip. Cinderella was amazed by it all. When finished, the fairy told Cinderella to hurry to the contest. Before Cinderella left, the fairy gave a warning to leave the party at midnight because then the spell would end and disappear. All existing magic will disappear and all objects will return to their original state.
Cinderella had a wonderful time of the ball until she heard the first stroke of midnight. She remembered what a fairy had said, and without a word of goodbye, she slipped from Prince's arm and ran down steps. As she ran, that she lost one of her slippers, but not for a moment did she dream to stopping to pick it up. If the last stroke of midnight were to sound, oh, what a disaster that would be. As she fell and vanished into the night, the prince, who who madly in love with her, picked up the slippers and said to the minister, "Go and search everywhere for the girl who put these slippers feet. I will never be content until I found her." So the minister tried the slipper on the foot of every girl in the land until only Cinderella was left. Suddenly, the fairy appeared and waved her magic wand. In a flash, Cinderella appeared in a splendid dress, shining with youth and beauty. Her stepmother and stepsisters gaped at her in amazement, and the minister said, "Come with us, Cinderella. The prince is waiting for you." So Cinderella married with Prince and lived happily ever. Okay, for our first discussion that we will talk about what the purpose that author means to deliver in this story. What do you think, Indah?
Okay, based on my opinion, the purpose which is delivered by the author in this narrative text are to entertain the readers about the story, that they are the honest girl which is live with the worst stepmother and the stepsister, but she always be honest and she always be kind person for her stepsister and stepmother. After that, we as readers also must be get the message from this story, because when you can be a good person and be kind person, God wanna give you the better life than before. I think that's it.
Okay, how about you, Zova?
Well, I think maybe the author want to show that a good attitude will bring good luck and a bad attitude will bring misfortune. Well, we can see um, from the Cinderellas who faced a bad situation with patience, with kindness, with positivity, and all attitudes that showed uh, showed kindness. And then she got a miracle by meeting the fairy godmother and the prince, and finally she can live happily. An example of a bad attitude that will bring misfortune for its is for example that bad attitudes of Cinderella's stepmother and two stepsisters who treat Cinderella badly, and finally they have to bear the shame of hiding Cinderella.
Great. Thank you guys. I am agree with all of you that the author delivered the material, the purpose to to entertain us about the story. So next question, next discussion. What do you think? What kind of verb that is mostly applied in this story is the linking verb? What do you think, Indah? How about you?
I think the kind of verb which is mostly used in this story is the linking verb. Because when I see and attend on this story, I found a lot of the sentence or some sentence which is used the to be. And because we know that to be is one of the kind of linking verb. For example, the sentence she was happy life. In this sentence, the word was is the linking verb. Next is there was nothing at all. And then they were very busy. Next is there was nothing at all. And then she was allowed to sit. The next is there is beauty. And then it was quiet through. And the next, Cinderella was a lovely girl. Next, her stepsister were still clumsy. Next, a ball was to be held at the place. And then after that, the sentence, the stepsister were getting ready. And then the sentence, you are staying at home. And the next is, I'm so happy. The next is, Cinderella was sitting all alone. And next is, there was a burst of light. And the last is, a fairy appeared. The word appeared because appeared is included on the ordinary linking verb.
And yeah, I do agree with Indah. There are a lot of thinking verb that they also use in this story, such as a very appear. There is that is when my spell ends. Midnight were to sound. The prince who was now madly in love with her, and in my opinion, the most appear is positive imperative. There are several sentences that I found. It's come with us, go and search everywhere, and get me a pumpkin, and cheer up. Now we're going to talking about the adverb. What the most adverb appeared in this story? I will ask the Indah and Sofa statement about it.
Okay, Based on my opinion, the kind of adverb which is mostly used in the story of Cinderella or the story is the adverb of time. Because as we know that this story include the simple past tense, so adverb of time in here have to explain more about the phenomenon which is happened in the past time. The example of adverb of time in this story are once upon a time, next is all day, next is at midnight, and the last is one day. That's my opinion about it.
Yeah, Indah is right. I also have similar opinion to Indah, but in this story there are some adverb of time such as of midnight, for a moment, and into the night. Into the night.
Okay, next we're going to talking about tenses. What the most appear tenses in this story? I will ask you in.
Okay, I think the tense which is mostly used in this story or the story of Cinderella is simple past tense because as we know that the story is talking about the phenomenon which has happened in the past time. The example of the simple past tense which is used in this story are first, she was happy in her life. Next, or the second, her mother died. The third, her stepmother didn't like her. The fourth, she had to work hard. The fifth, a new beautiful dress arrived at home. The sixth, she knew very well what the answer would be. The eighth, Cinderella found herself wearing the most beautiful dress.
Yes, I do agree with Indah. The text apply the simple past tense. There are several there are several sentences that I found it, and another example that I found it are Cinderella has a wonderful time in the ball, and she heard the first stroke of midnight. She remembered the minister tried the sleeper, and the fiery appeared and waved her magic wand. And then we're going to talk about statement sentence. Statement sentence, I found 9, but for this example that I just know is I'm so happy. The sentence I understand, and then the sentence the prince is waiting for you. How about you, Zova? What do you think?
Yep, I do agree with Fazlia's statement. Uh, we can look at the sentence. One day, beautiful new dresses arrived at the house. In this sentence, the word beautiful means to new dress.
Discussion we're going to talking about language feature. The language feature, in my opinion, that mostly appear as descriptive adjective, which is it the function is to describe characteristic of noun, pronoun, or the subject in the sentence. So for the example, we can look at several sentences that I found that like she was happy life with her father and mother. The ball was to be held at the palace. Her stepsister, no matter how splendid and elegant their clothes, were still clumsy, lumpy, and ugly. And you are staying at home to wash dish, and Cinderella was sitting all alone. How about Sova and Indah, what do you think about this?
Yes, I agree with Fazlia. I also found that the imperative sentence was the second most common sentence with 8 sentences. For example, the sentence of cheer up and quick get me pumpkin. And then the few sentences are question sentences with 2 sentences. That is, the sentence is, how can I trust in rights? And then, do you understand? Yeah.
Okay, I think I also do agree with you, Fajlia, because I also find one of the example of descriptive adjective in the part of this story, that is in the part when the Cinderella's stepsister come back to home after they go to the party. Exactly in the sentence, they will come home tired and very sleepy. It happened because the word tired and sleepy describe and explain the condition of Cinderella's stepsister after they go to the party. So I think you are right.
Last discussion is about the message. What is messages of this story? I mean,
I think the message is to be good person, then there will definitely be a good return.
For this story, I think the message that I can get is that we must be the honest people, and we must believe that the God's plans it's wanna be better than our plan.
alright, guys. I think for me, the message of this story is I'm agree with Indah and Sofa's statement that we have to be good people. That no matter what the other say, no matter what the other do, we have to believe in ourselves and do what we want to do. That's it. Okay, guys, that's all our podcast. I'm so sorry if there are a lot of mistaken because we have any trouble with this. So I'm so sorry and thank you for watching this podcast. Thank you. Bye bye.